and engage with customers and seize new opportunities. The integration of digital technology has become a crucial component of strategic planning and is an essential factor in order to achieve sustainable growth. Throughout our conversatory, we are privileged to have two distinguished speakers who will share their insight and expertise on this subject. They bring with a wealth of knowledge and experience in navigating the evolving digital landscape. Together, we will explore the challenge, opportunities, and potential disruptions faced on business in this digital age. At first, our first speaker, Luis Daza, will shed light on the concept of digital transformation and how it's reshaping traditional business models. They will delve into the key drivers of this transformation, including automation, artificial intelligence, data analytics, cloud computing, and the Internet of Things. Prepare to gain valuable insights into successful digital transformation strategies, real-world case studies, and they forward for business aiming to stay ahead of the curve. Our second speaker, Fabricio Celada, will focus on the e-commerce revolution and the tremendous impact it has on consumer behavior and the retail landscape. He will also will give you many examples and I need that you could pay special attention to their speech. They will delve into the rise of online retail, the proliferation of digital marketplaces, and the changing expectations of customers in this digital era. Get ready to explore the benefits and challenge of e-commerce, digital marketing strategies, and how business, both large and small, can leverage the opportunities to thrive into the digital marketplace. As the host, I am honored to guide you during this night through the simulating conversatory. Together, let us embark on a journey of discovery, exploration, and inspiration as we delve into the profound impact of digital technology on business. By the end of this session, we hope to equip you with the actionable insights and a broader understanding of the strategies required to harness the potential of digital technology in your organization. Without further ado, let us commence this enlightening conversatory and the impact of digital technology on business, and welcome to our first speaker to the virtual stage. I give you the word to Luis Daza.
Thank you, Sergio. Good evening, professors. I'm very pleased to be here. So, thanks for the invitation. May I share my screen?
Yes. We'll see your screen.
So please tell me if you are watching my screen.
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Loud and clear.
Well, so I'm going to talk about the impact of digital technology on business, but focused on my particular point of view, I should start defining what is digital technology. And I'm going to read this literally. Digital technology is the use of electronic devices, software, sorry for my mistakes, software and networks to create, store, and manage data. Why is important digital technology for business? It's important because it can help to improve efficiency, productivity, and customer service. Now, I'm going to talk about digital technology, but focused on my experience. In my experience as an entrepreneur. And I'm going to talk about first about blockchain, digital banking, and SaaS, software as a service. The second part of this small talk, I will talk about cloud solutions products, CSP. It means that I will talk about Azure, I will talk about Google Cloud, AWS, Amazon Web Services. And to finalize this presentation, I will talk about artificial intelligence. Sorry for the mistake. Well, what about the fintech journey? In 2019, I participated in the creation of products for the fintech, formerly called Cryptalia. But the last year, we passed through a rebranding, and now we're called EvenFi. And well, what happened with the name? EvenFi refers perfectly the democratization of finance. So that is why we suffered this rebranding. The idea of Cryptalia or EvenFi was born at a time when I was working in Chile 11 years ago, in a conversation with who was my boss and current partner, Diego Dalchero. The idea was to found a zero agency bank, that means a digital bank, but focused for foreigners. Well, I found some legal and regulatory gaps that will allow us to launch that product in Chile with relative ease. The idea would not materialize until 2018, when Diego returned to Italy. I was already here in Bolivia, and we got again in contact to incubate this idea. In 2019, the business models were presented, with which work would be done by incorporating blockchain technology for this entire matters. Knowing that with this technology, transaction costs are reduced and a new financing channel can be articulated, especially for SMEs. SMEs means small and medium enterprises, but in Italy. In 2020, that was the year in which, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to grow, since we found an investor public with excess liquidity and with the comfort of working remotely. Something similar to what we live here in Bolivia, but of course, without the excess of liquidity. In 2021 and 2022, that time catapulted us to be able to expand operations in Spain and Portugal, managing to be the fintech that, how can I say it, that paved the way for formal regulation in those markets, and of course, being the first to achieve the relevant certifications by the regulatory bodies, regulatory entities. Today, EvenFi offers the platform to incubate businesses through tokenization. Well, tokenization refers to the most part of the time refers to the use of cryptocurrencies. But this is a very, very bad mistake. Tokenization is a way to compose financial assets to be able to be configured in the crowdfunding modality simply. The transaction currency can easily be cryptocurrencies as Bitcoin, as Ethereum, or fiats. Fiats are dollars, euros, bolivianos, soles, etc., etc., etc. Well, our aggressive expansion will allow that in 2024 we can have operations in South America, United States, and maybe in Canada. Well, the platform is nothing more than a marketplace in which money-deficient agents converge with surplus agents. In this framework, one of the important challenges to install operations in South America is the emerging regulatory environment for this type of non-bank financial activities. But you should know that in January of this year, 2023, a fintech law was approved in Chile, making a very important milestone for the entry of these operations with foreign capital. Currently, the Latin American countries that have developed this type of fintech businesses, the most are Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Uruguay. In Bolivia, there is these transformations, but the aggressive regulatory modality established by the institution Autoridad de Supervisión del Sistema Financiero and the Banco Central of Bolivia make it quite reduced. A crowdfunding format that is operational, sorry, sorry, I was here. I was talking about enterprises that are working here in Bolivia. Most important maybe is Neovaca. Neovaca is a platform that recently launched a couple of entrepreneurs in the city of Santa Cruz. That channel managed investments in cattle herds. It means cows. See, in the Bolivian East, with very, very interesting returns. And also, I can talk about Crowdy operations. Crowdy is maybe another important company that operates in Argentina. Its headquarters is located in Argentina, but is in Bolivia now, articulating some related operations through its partner or representative, Mr. Pablo Itner. Well, this type of business it is very clear, has expanded the offer of SMEs to be able to finance themselves, and in many cases without having to, how can I say, to pawn their soul to the devil, which is how the process of buying debt from banks is popular jargon or slang recognized. Well, now I'm going to talk about cloud computing journey. Upon my return from Chile in 2017, I received a call from a very important transnational giant to be part of the team that would open its operations in Bolivia. I'm talking about Incomix. Incomix is a master distributor from the United States and Latin America with presence in more than 18 countries. Incomix managed about $4 million of investments and made available to bring brands as Hewlett-Packard, Dell, Samsung, Epson, among so many other high-end products to Bolivia. Well, Incomex went through a very tough fight with its in its first year with the entity called Aduana de Bolivia. Well, the action of the regulatory entity, of this regulatory entity, sorry, and its aggressive positions that we can call extortion position. I'm not trying to politicize this session, but in any way. But we can say that that the position of the customs, the entity Aduana of Bolivia is very close to extortion and an extortion position, and it caused the early departure from Bolivia. In 2019, the team was disintegrated, and only the trusted people were retained, among whom, fortunately, I find myself. Well, the company continues to operate to this day, but without importing even a pen drive. Well, Incomex not only distributes office equipment, it also distributes intangibles. That means software, and Microsoft maybe is the main supplier. The corporation agrees to give an additional opportunity respite to the operations in Bolivia, saying that the business really had potential here in Bolivia. We can watch the statistics, and we can see that the business exploded in 2020 with the arrival of the pandemic and the need for companies to, how can I say, undergo digital transformations. For most companies, digital transformation before 2019 constituted the acquisition of an ERP. It means an enterprise requirement program to manage their information. Confinement awakened the need for companies not only to have an ERP, but also be able to manage it remotely, since that depended on their life, the enterprise life. This transformation is something relatively new in Bolivia, but something from the last decade is in neighboring countries. This technological lag in Bolivia has been driven by very strange circumstances towards a new era in which efficiency and significant reduction of investments stand out. Yeah, we can say that before companies had to buy and keep a server operational, which represents a significant capex. Capex means capital expenditures. You should know that all the CSP technology that Microsoft brings through their star product Azure allows companies to transform that capex into OPEX. OPEX means operational expenditures. For those who knows a little bit about finance, this is a very transcendental and efficient change in the use of financial resources. Incomex today Incomex today is working in Bolivia with Azure technologies and subscribing a very important part of the market, and we can say that it's a market that is growing fast and growing, and we can say that we have a very important expectations about it. The last year, the last year, in 2022, the Azure business managed $40 million. Maybe you can say that this is a small figure, but this figure is growing steadily. Now, what can I say about artificial intelligence and my journey in artificial intelligence? The conventional thinking points out that in November 2022 unleashed the most important milestone in the history of technology with the launching of ChatGPT. This could not be more false or more wrong. Generative artificial intelligence does have an important milestone in November 2022. Artificial intelligence has been present in human history for much longer. As a matter of fact, in 1950, the first mathematical formulation were made, and that guided the creation of the first neural network, you should know. I'm not going to tell you about how AI is transforming conventional businesses, because maybe that would sound a little bit repetitive. I'm going to tell you something about a very important industry that is on your main ears. I'm talking about the music industry. And what about the music industry? This is an industry that the past year moved about $26,000 million, and only with the recorded products. You should know that information was collected about what was generated with the movement of concerts. Sure, the figure is easily quintupled. So we are not talking about we are talking about an industry that is not important. It's very important. Well, in the 90s, a unique song reformulated the artistic career of a person. I'm referring to the song of Believe by Cher. Maybe you can remember, do you believe the love after love, right? So maybe you remember also the metallic sound of the voice that was quite characteristic and very, very unusual. And that perhaps was the most attractive effect of the song. Well, you should know that this effect is known as autotune. And it is nothing more than an algorithm with neural networks that break down the frequencies emitted by the human voice with an oscillations between 50 hertz and 300 hertz maybe, and accommodate these frequencies to the normal tonic spectra of 440 hertz. It means 440 hertz. Today, the autotune is used by, I can tell them, pseudo artists, I'm so sorry, who generate billions of dollars and whose effect is the indignation of musicians, among who I can include myself, of course. Artists that invest time, money to study music and learn singing techniques and learning to play piano, to play guitar, you know. Well, reggaeton industry, because we can name it at reggaeton industry, is moving half maybe of what the Beatles generated in 1964, that is considered the most successful year of the famous British band. Nowadays, applications like SoundDraw, Beethoven, and many others like that can formulate musical accompaniments or even compose complete songs, and just in a couple of minutes or seconds. And that means a lot of effort for musicians that should invest hours, days, weeks, months to compose a song. So that is pretty impressive. Therefore, independent music was proliferated in recent years as it dispenses with the big record companies that can do little or nothing in the face of the technological change that also accompanies the music industry with streaming platforms as YouTube, Spotify, or Deezer. This reminds me, maybe this reminds me, the fair trades that were established in Europe the past century with the motto, profits for the producers, arguing that intermediaries should disappear. The same happens with technology and the approach of intellectual property. The approach that intellectual property will have more weight than having other distribution channels of vinyl records, cassettes, or even compact discs. So that is my vision. Nowadays, I'm working with artificial intelligence to produce new songs, to produce what I can call my first LP that maybe will be launched in this next August. I'm begging for it. Yeah, and I'm trying to introduce artificial intelligence technology to generate tracks of percussion, bass guitar, or even the rhythm guitar. So artificial intelligence is not only transforming the regular businesses or the conventional businesses, are also transforming the whole artistic model that we are in touch. So that's what I can tell you. That's what I was trying to expose this evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you to you, Luis. That was a great presentation. It was so good. Now we are going to pass the floor to our next speaker. Please, Fabrizio Zavada, the session is for you.
Thank you, Sergius. Just I want to make a point. We talked that today we're going to talk about just digital transformation, right?
Exactly.
We're not going to talk about e-commerce because we discussed that on our WhatsApp group, right?
Okay, there's no problem.
Okay, great. So if you let me share, please, my screen, Luis. Okay.
Now you are able to share.
Yes, I am. Thank you. First of all, I want to say, well, I'm very pleased to be here with you, with my professors, with my colleagues. Thank you very much for the invitation, Sergio. It's an honor to be here. What I'm gonna do here is just try to show one point of view. We come from business, we work in organizations, and I think we have to understand what is the impact of digital transformation in our companies. I want to show a proposal. Most of this, I'm sure that most of you have to know this. I know, especially, for example, Sergio or Marco are persons who are really, really very interested in these topics areas. So what I'm going to do here just is try to discuss with you. And as it's a conversatory, I don't know, but I think that it's maybe that as I expose or as I do my talk, we can stop and ask you and the persons who are here who want to participate, what do you think about this? Okay, this is going to be a proposal, just that. So when we talk about digital transformation, it's like a very, very old term because we already are doing this. We have a lot of companies that are doing digital or are already transformed, right? And we're talking about companies here in Bolivia. We're not talking just examples about some other countries. We're talking about companies here in Bolivia. Most of the topics that Luis just exposed are already doing it. Companies such as Inti, such as CBM, such as Sobose, they are working on this world. Okay, so we are not talking about just companies, very big companies. We are talking about companies here in Bolivia. So we have to understand what is a digital transformation or why we call this a digital transformation. And to make it very clear, is just when you integrate technology to the company. Okay, now we are gonna make that the technology will help to the manager, to the CEO, to make a decision. Okay, so when you use and you integrate technologies to the company, to the business, to organization, what we are going to do is, okay, we are going to use technology. Okay, we are going to use it. So when we are going to use technology, the main use of this is to have a better knowledge of our customers. Okay, so the focus on working on this is the customer, and we are going to talk about this. We are not just transforming an organization because we need to, because we like to. No, it's because we need to know a better knowledge of the customers. Today, you and me, when we buy something, we generate a data. That data is going to be processed in the company, and the company is going to say, okay, Fabricio likes to buy like this, and when he buy this, he also watch this. He also asked this, he searched for this. So that data, if you imagine, that's how many data I can generate just as a customer, that's going to be processed. So digital transformation is we have to process the data to have knowledge. That knowledge means for us decisions. I remember this cycle when Professor Blackwood explained us. Data, that's the number, then comes information, and then comes wisdom. So that logical is also applied here because we're gonna do that, right? Wisdom is gonna be just maybe the decision that the manager or the team is gonna make. Okay, so why to do it? What is behind digital transformation? First of all, Luis just tell us about that. First of all, technology advancement. Today, the technology is very, very open. We have a lot of software. We have a lot of tools to process information. Technology is already here thanks to the COVID-19. I think most of the companies here in Bolivia changed. I don't know what you think about that, but for example, a lot of banks here in Bolivia had to change and open digital channels because there was no other way in the pandemic. We are in our houses and we are in front of a computer and using our cell phone, and that's it. So technology forced in Bolivia to change, right? Okay, it was a very CTO, the COVID here for some of the banks. The second thing that we have to consider is that changing customer expectations. You and me and all the customer is changing. Why? Because we have a lot of information now. We have a lot of information. We don't buy just like we'd like to. We search, we ask, we go to forums, and so that data, that information right now is because we are changing, and companies must change also, right? And finally, because there is a market disruption. Of course there is, and this is related to our market. We talk about millennials, centennials, baby boomers. We can see that, we here in this session, for example, for us, our cell phone is very useful, right? Most of you use it just to chat or to watch videos. Some others use it, the same cell phone, to buy things, to pay things, and some others have their life there, right? So this is changing. Okay, so there was a marked disruption about technology. So we need to understand that. I don't know, what do you think about this? What do you think about this, what I'm telling you right now? I think we have a lot of examples here about companies that already integrated the technology in their companies. I don't know if you have any examples, or maybe you can ask or propose an idea about this topic that I'm talking about. So I give you like 1 minute or 2 minutes if there is anyone who is interested here. You used to be a very talkative person, so I need you to start talking about this, okay? I think it's very, very nice if we can exchange point of view here. Okay, now, if we keep on going, okay? I'm gonna keep going. What about this? What are the key elements of digital transformation, okay? This is just a proposal, remember that? The first thing, and why I'm focusing on this, because when we talk about tools, technology, I think we are forgetting that this happens because there is a CEO, there is a person, there's a human being there, okay? So technology is useful, but we are the ones who use that technology, okay? So the first element here to start talking about digital transformation is the leadership ambition, okay? So the CEO, the leadership is the one who can lead a company to change, okay? I'm gonna put later in some diapos later some point of view of me talking to you about my experience in doing this. So the leadership is really needful. We need this, okay? There is no company that can change just because of the people, okay? There is a leader who says we need to go there. So if we wanna be there, we need to do this. Okay, so first one, the leadership. The second is the customer-centric approach. As we just said, we need to emphasize the important focusing on customer needs. Okay, we need to deliver in personal experiences. Today we talk a lot about the consumer experience. We are talking about just not selling you the iPhone. We are talking about the experience of selling an iPhone. Your experience when you go to an iPhone store. You go to Apple Store and you look for an iPhone. So that experience is what we are looking as an Apple company. So we need to, again, to customer-centric approach. The third idea is technology adoption. Today we have, and Luis just talked about all of this. He talked about AI, IoT, or Internet of Things, cloud computing, data analytic. That things are already here, and we know that. I don't know how many of you, for example, you already know about Python. Python is a very useful software to process data, but for using Python, you need to understand the programming. So this is useful, and this is happening right now. Okay, this is right now doing it. I have
Fabricio, it's not a language. It's a language, Python. It's not a program.
Okay, but you need to understand programming, because if you don't understand programming,
exactly.
You cannot use the Python, right? So for us that we are coming from business, we never, I mean, personally, I never learned about programming. So when I started learning about Python, was like, if you don't know to use a command, okay, so why? Because the programming thinking is that logic is what we need to use with Python, right? So technology is here. So companies need to adopt that technology who is already here. And I just learned that when we talk about this, sometimes we think that the budget is very huge, and it's not. Trust me, there are a lot of softwares who is open and who is not that expensive, very friendly, and there's not just like something limited for companies, okay? The price optimization is also that we as a business administrators and we as a person who works on companies, we need to understand this. Today, we understand the logic of doing a process, but that process today can be doing very, very efficiently. We talk a lot about agile tools, Scrum, for example, who is here, and companies are already talking about this. So we need to understand, as I said, explain the significance of remaining and streamlining business processes to improve. And this is part of digital, because we cannot have digital transformated a company if there is not a automated process, for example. Process need to be automated, okay? And finally, as the first one, related to the first point, is the organizational culture, okay? When we talk about this transformation, the company need to understand that it's going to be a change, a very huge change. Okay, so there's going to be an impact in the company for many persons. Our cashier who is working like 35 years on the company, and we're telling that person, we are not going to do this anymore like you are doing it. You need to understand this. You need to change that. So it's a very, very huge impact when we talk about this. That's why it's a process. And finally, I'm going to show you a roadmap of how can be do this. But when we talk about digital, of course, there is a benefits about this, okay? Because benefits of doing this. The first one is, again, we are focusing on our customer experience, okay? So once we know better a customer, we can offer a better product, a better experience. We can offer what he's looking for. And that's something amazing, because you and me as a customers, we just don't look something for use. We think about the value. Why gonna spend my money here? So when the company understand us as a customer is better, and that is a data analyst. And data analyst, for example, what is doing? He is processing data to say, your customers thinks like this, act like this, or are doing this. Your customers are searching these things, or your customers are having problems with this part of the product. So that data is very important for the company, because we're gonna understand that, and we can change that, so we can have a more happy customer. We can say that, okay? Operational efficiency, of course, because we have already automated most of our processes. There are data-driven insights who are looking to optimize processes. There is a company here who is a Process Maker. I don't know if you understand. If you know that company, Process Maker is a company whose headquarters are in Durham, in the United States. But they are operating here, and they have a lot of data analysts. And what they are doing, they are processing data for companies around the world, from here in San Miguel, okay? So it's very important to understand this, okay? Because there is an impact when we look the efficiency of operational. But the first impact is cost, right? The cost is going to be reduced, of course, and we know that. And you as a manager is looking to reduce cost, to be a more efficient company, okay? And when you reduce cost, you have an impact in your productivity. So you can increase productivity, okay? So which are the keys for any CEO in any company. The third one is innovation and competitive advantage. Transformation, digital transformation goes to and looks forward to an innovative company, okay? So that's something we have to understand. Today, innovation is in any company. And here and you teach that. You teach that innovation right now is here, and you need to talk about innovation. So the innovation bring us to start thinking, as Sergio said when he introduced Luis, for example, about the business models. We know that there are very classic business models today that changed dramatically. Okay, so that changed really, really, really. I think we as a professionals can see that our business models that we learned when we studied business administration, for example, are not the same right now. Right? They already change. Okay, and finally, innovation also helps the organizations to be to stay ahead on the curve. So be continuity innovation, and we teach that. Finally, agility and adaptability, which you just talked about, but that empowers the organization to respond quickly. So, for example, Promoher is working on very agile tools right now because they need to have a better response to have the not only credits, but also working with the foundations. And the NGO is working with them because they need, okay, we need to be very agile. When a woman comes here and asks for credit or looking for some money or a loan, okay, that things need to be agile. But not that, because also Promoher, for example, designs projects to get funds around the world. That project needs to be done agile, right? So that's part of our culture. And when we talk about CEOs, okay, so we just said, okay, there is a lot of benefits. See, okay, now let's see, what do you think? And you can see there some information that I got, that there is, of course, an important relevance of digital information. And they say that if you see that data that are already there in you're watching it, you can see that 80% said of the respondents believe that will provide the company with a competitive edge. So we know that if we integrate technology to our company, we are sure, or we believe, we think that our company is going to be more competitive. Okay. However, it's challenging processes we need accelerating. I told you that when we think about digital transformation, there is an impact in the company, in the culture, in the persons. And that's the most hard part when we use that, when we start the strategy of digital transformation. Only 37% said that digital transformation is a permanent item on their CEO's agenda. So they see that, okay, the CEO proposed this and they leave it, okay? You can do it, okay? So that's something that needs to be discussed, of course. And I'm gonna put here this info, but I would like to hear what you think about this, okay? If you think that it's gonna be applied for some Bolivian companies, for example, okay? I'm just ending here. So overcoming challenges about migrating risk, because there is also risk about when we start digital transformation strategy. For the first one is change management. Of course, managers need to be the first one to understand, to know. They need to learn, because there's nothing that you can set if you don't have the experience and you don't know. You need to understand. You need to learn about this. Okay. There's not an IT person who is going to work. No, you need to know this, to understand, so you can be very cohesive with the persons, with the team, okay? Strategies for managing organization change and overcoming resistance, security and privacy, skill gaps, okay? Today, we have maybe not all the skills we need in this world. The ones we are here, we need to understand, we need to learn. We are having courses about maybe this because we don't have the skills the companies are requiring right now, okay? And finally, integration and compatibility. Discuss the challenges of integrating new technologies with existing systems and processes. Here is also another info for you. More than 50% of digital transformation efforts fizzled completed in 20 years. So just 50%. Imagine that. All the effort we are making just to get a 50%. And this is because most of persons don't believe in this. They say, no, we don't need this. The way we were doing this, it's okay because it already works. So we don't need to change, okay? And you know a lot of companies that are like that. No, but why? We don't need to change. We're okay. This is the best way you can do it because person also don't like to face a challenge, for example, okay? Some areas I'm going to talk about this. I think that first one, customer experience. Second is operation efficiency. Data-driven decision making. I think that's one of the most important here. Today we are doing this in some of the companies here in Bolivia. Innovation, knowledge, and finally collaboration, communication. This last one we didn't talk about before because I think that this is also here working right now. Right now, we are using a communication way. We're not in the same room. We're not in the same place. We are discussing some topic in your computer while you drink your coffee, in your house, in your bed. I don't know where you are. So maybe watching a game. I don't know. But you are listening about this in your company. Or maybe you are in a restaurant and you're with your iPhone or with your cell phone. I don't know. So this makes a collaboration and a communication among teams better. We don't need to focus on geographical location. As I told you, for example, process maker. There is a person who in San Miguel who processes data for a Sprint, for example, in the United States. There is another person in Abu Dhabi. There's another person in Paris who is working with data right now for a client, okay? The roadmap, finally, you and me as a manager, we need to understand what we should do if we want to think about a digital transformation. The first one, we need to understand what are the assets current state, what we have right now. We have everything what we need to change. We have the technology, the processes are very clear. The company is maturity enough to have a digital transformation. The second one, define the vision and strategy. This is the plan, right? We need to present a plan, establish the clear vision and the roadmap of the digital stages, budgets, persons, implement and iterate, break down transformation initiative into manageable projects, and execute them incrementally. This is as stages, right? And finally, monitor and adapt, okay? Here is another one who is the same, but we have some questions about what we are doing. For example, what new skills will improve useful? How can I acquire them? What impact will the technology have on the process? How to finance a digital transformation process? So these questions are related to these points. We need to ask this so we can maybe answer these questions, because the roadmap will guarantee that your company will be integrated with technology. Okay, so digitally transformed. So I think that we need to understand that this is happening right now. Companies in Bolivia are doing this already. In Santa Cruz, I can mention like a lot of companies are doing this. E-business in Santa Cruz are already here. Most of them are doing this. And there is something that we need to put in our agenda when we teach classes. And this is not just a topic about one subject. We need to put this in many topics, in many subjects, because this is not just a subject in one semester. No, this is something that is going to be, must be in all the career. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Fabricio, for your presentation. It's important to mention that Fabricio took a course on digital transformation at MIT, as far as I know. So this experience that you will share, well, it's a great experience to share with our colleagues. Well, Does anyone have any question to the speakers?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Marco. Hello,
Okay.
Sergio. Thanks to
Hello, Marco.
Fabricio and also Luis for the presentations. I just would like to remark two aspects about digital transformation. There is a famous article in Harvard Business Review which says digital transformation is not about technology. Of course, this is very challenging because technology is important, of course, but maybe we don't have to forget that the most, or one of the most important thing in this challenge for enterprises, for business, is a strategy, organizational culture, mindset, and of course technology. And there is a paradox here. When we are talking about technology, a lot of time we think about the hard skills. But when we are talking about rethinking strategy, rethinking a lot of fundamentals of theory, like sustainable competitive advantage, that is changing also. And we are talking about flexibility, innovation, open mind, changing the organizational culture. We need to work a lot of, or more, to work more in the social skills or the soft skills, especially in the universities, because and the second thing I would like to talk is as Fabricio say, this is a challenge, and a lot of business, especially out of Bolivia, but also in Bolivia, are beginning to work in this. But there is not too many people that knows how can they do and how can they change their usually work in the business. In this sense, our students that are the new professionals that are going to that enterprises, they can share this new I think, or this new competence this change need. And I am talking about be creative, entrepreneurs, to know about agile methodologies, design thinking, all these new ways of thinking that it's now beginning to be in the area of business. And finally, another thing interesting to me is that a lot of fundamentals of theory that we used to teach are changing. For example, in strategy, Professor Porter is famous because the sustainable competitive advantage. Another professor of Columbia Business School, she's a professor, Rita Garner, say that she wrote a book about the end of competitive advantage. And her point is that we cannot talk about nothing sustainable in these times. But, for example, in the competitive advantage, think more before than sustainable, thinking transient competitive advantage. So that this is also, I think, a strong challenge to us, like a professors, because a lot of the things that we teach in our rooms, study rooms, are changing, and the students need to learn about this to be real good players in the enterprise and in that need to change and work with these new challenges. Just that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor, for your contribution to the talk. I saw a raised hand from Professor Blackwood. Go ahead,
Yep.
Professor.
Thank you. It's really, really interesting about conferences. Thank you very much. I learned so many things about the impact of technology in management. But I would like just one thing. In management, the impact of technology, for example, how to manage without hierarchy. That's my question. And my English is Camion, and so, excuse me, but that's all. How to managing without hierarchy. One of principal impact of technology. That's all, and thank you very much. It was very interesting, Fabricio and Luis. Really interesting. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, Professor. Now we are on time. I would like to thank Fabricio and Luis for your conference. It was so interesting. You are both of the most important professors that we have on science data and technology, and it was a pleasure to be here in this micro class. I would like to thank to Marco Villavicencio. He helped me with this class, and he's sharing this class on their social network. So if another professor can be here, well, they have the option to saw that presentation in their channel. This is the end. Thanks for all. Thanks for your presence, and we will see you next. And thanks for all. That's